Hello and welcome to a Boxing Insider special. This week we're in Leeds to speak to Josh Warrington as he aims to become a two-time world champion.
The reason I've got to 30-0, the reason why I was ranked number one in the world is because people like this don't live on the same level as me, and they're there screaming, "Come on, Josh!" And I'm seeing them. It's like, I feed off that energy. And he is now the two-time world champion from Leeds. It's a Leeds warrior, Josh Warrington. Tell you what, that's going on the CV. And we'll need a ring announcer. I'm here.
Josh, so good to see you. Just how are you feeling a few days out, and how excited are you about the chance to become a world champion once more on Saturday?
I'm very calm. It's funny when fight week comes around because it's like the calm before the storm. You know, we finished training just yesterday. Camp was starting to dwindle down, just starting to get a little bit easier. Obviously, we put a lot of work into the camp, so the body's tired, and you're just kind of looking forward to this week, so you give that chance to recover. Obviously, there's lots of talking and pictures and stuff like that, but it's more of a mental game this week. But sadly, can't come quick enough. I've probably been ready to go for about 3-4 weeks, so I'm excited, and I think it's good to have that bit of calmness around you as well, because you can eat away with yourself with nerves and driving your head crazy. So yeah, sadly, can't come quick enough.
Talk us through the process of taking this fight against Kiko Martinez. Was it a no-brainer when it was offered to you?
Yeah, I've said it in many interviews. It's funny how this sport works. And back in November, when he knocked out Kiko Martinez, I just done an exhibition with my gym mate Maxi Hughes. My first and probably my last exhibition I've ever done. But when I'd seen that, I was, wow, this is boxing. Anything can happen. Then over the next few days, I heard that backstage you were shouting my names, crying for Warrington. I want to fight Warrington, and you take it with a pinch of salt. And then next minute, Eddie's on phone. Do you want to fight Kiko? And it more or less a straight yes. You know, didn't need much time to think about it. It's a chance for myself to get back on top. I know I vacated that belt originally, but that was a gamble. And the gamble was I was meant to walk into a fight with Kanju. When that fight got rearranged and I ended up boxing Marcelo Bielsa and get knocked out, I lost that position of power. But the opportunity to win my belt back gives me that position of power back. So I know how important this is, and I look forward to it, and I appreciate Kiko for the opportunity, but it's going to be one fight that he probably regrets taking.
Is it slightly strange in a way that you're fighting for a belt that you vacated just over a year ago?
Not really. I mean, yes and no. It's funny how like I say, how it all works. I mean, 5 years ago I boxed Kiko, and at the times, the experts and the some of the fans were saying, Kiko Martinez, he's seen better days, he's finished, he's done, you know. And then when I beat Kiko, I still didn't really get the praise for beating him. And obviously I went on to beat like Silan, Selby, Frampton, Galahad. And, Kiko's path was just going a different way. I mean, even early last year, down in the bubble, he boxed Alpha Barrett, and I've come over, hey Kiko, how are you doing? He's shaking my hand and everything else. And even before the Marcelo Bielsa match, was trying to get him over here for sparring, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. But like I said, I never thought as paths would cross again, and especially for my old belt. So it's funny how the old stars have aligned, and how these things work. And obviously he's after revenge. He's not let this life over 5 years. It's been probably eating away at him. He's got an opportunity to get revenge, and with my old belt as well. But like I said, that's my belt. I never got beat with it in the ring. I never lost it in the ring. I lost it outside due to politics. So I'm looking forward to adding it back to my collection.
You've been involved in some huge nights in your career. I mean, just look behind us, the poster of the huge fight against Lee Selby back in 2018. Just how big, though, is this fight this weekend for you?
I always say the next fight is the biggest, and that rings true on a lot of things, because you don't want to stop. You don't want to put the brakes on anything, and that's what will happen. Really and truth, that's what will happen if you get beat. But then when you weigh it up, getting beat at domestic level, you've got time to come back. If you're a young fighter, or if you get to like world level and you're still young, you've got time to come back. But I'm 31, and I know that's not old, but I'd say I'm in my peak years, and I don't want to be adding another 2 years on trying to get back to the top, because that's what can happen. You know, you look at someone like Carl Frampton. You know, he lost against Leo Santa Cruz, and it was another 2 years before he got a shot against for a world title. So I've been blessed with this opportunity, and I want to take full advantage. And you know, it's a long road back, and you're kind of the B-side/C-side, waiting for opportunities to come. If you lose opportunities like this.
What sort of momentum do you feel like you have going into this fight? Because it's come at an interesting stage when you consider what's happened over the last year.
Yeah, it's compared to Kiko. Obviously, he's coming off a massive knockout win, a very good performance against Selfa Barrett, like I say. Myself, I'm coming off a knockout loss and a technical draw. Well, not a technical draw, a draw. Well, a fight that got stopped, no contest. So yeah, difficult. It is a little bit difficult, but with that being said, before the pandemic and before that first Michelle Lara fight, I felt invincible. I really did. I think I felt as though no man at 9 stone was going to beat me. How? I've been in there with every single style, and I've always come through with flying colours. Maybe I got a bit of a wake-up call when I boxed Lara the first time, but maybe that's something that I needed. And the way that this camp has gone, it's felt like a Josh Warrington of old, but with a little bit of more experience added to that. So I'm feeling fantastic. You know, when I look down the camp, all the records that we've gone through, from my runs to my sparring to my strength and conditioning, everything's peaking. So, and my mindset's better than it ever has been. And like, since I boxed Kiko last time round, like I said, 5 years ago, I went on and boxed some very good names, and my stock has risen. Not saying that he hasn't, but I've certainly improved, and he's 5 years older, so I feel that things happen for a reason. And on Saturday night, I'll be a 2-time world champion.
What sort of Kiko are you expecting compared to the one that you fought 5 years ago when you got the nod that night? I mean, it's incredible to think he's still going. This will be his 56th professional fight, which is remarkable, really.
Oh man, the guy's a legend, really. Not just in Spain, but in world boxing, for going as long as he has done. I mean, I was still an amateur when he was boxing for European titles. It's crazy. I remember watching him back on Sky, like I say, just before I turned pro. So for him to be a world champion sometime later is absolutely incredible. I think he's been going for like 18 years. It's astonishing. But like you say, he's 35. He's nearly 60 fights deep. He isn't going to change what he does. What you see is what you get with Kiko Martinez. He's not going to come out the corner doing a shoulder roll, defensively jumping around. He uses his attributes to his best. He's short. He comes forward. He throws a lot of punches, and he carries power. And they always say the last attribute to lose is your punch power. So I know he's going to be there. Potentially could be there for the full 12. He'll always try to win. He's got a crazy determination. But like I say, I've grown as well since I've last boxed him. You know, my knockout ratio doesn't show it, but I know I can hit, and I think I've got a better boxing brain than ever. So I expect Kiko to come, but whatever he brings, we'll be ready for.
Just going back before we go forward, when you look back at the 2 fights against Mauricio Lara, which one was more difficult to process from a mental and psychological point of view?
Probably the second one, because of how it finished. The first one, I kind of knew. That's what you get from.
When did you know?
Well, after all my swelling had gone down, and I've got my consciousness back. Sitting down and dwelling on it and having a run through your mind of how you approach the fight. The fight week, the time in change rooms. I mean, the camp was good. I was fit enough to beat him, strong enough to beat him, but just the way that I approached it mentally wasn't there, and I kind of knew that after a few weeks. Whereas after the rematch, I had to really switch off for about 3-4 weeks. It just had to weigh with me, because it was something to get back in there straight away with him, and there were a lot of positives from there. Like in the first 2 rounds, I remember thinking to myself, how the bloody hell did I lose to this fella? There's a reason why I've been a world champion. There's a reason why I've beaten so many great names. There's a reason I've got to 30-0. The reason why I was ranked number 1 in the world is because people like this don't live on the same level as me. I'm not a bad fighter, and it took me a few weeks to realise that. Obviously I was just disappointed initially when the fight got stopped. So I believed that as the fight had gone on longer, then I'd have had my own way, and the game plan was starting to roll out really good. And obviously what happened. Obviously, so there's some people who felt like I went in there with an intentional head, but like I've got a chance to put things right, and I'm just gonna stick nuts on him. They're deluded, but just disappointed with how that finished in the rematch. But like I say, I'd love to put that to bed when I get the chance.
I guess there was a feeling, despite the fact it wasn't your fault, that you'd let down the fans, because so many had come to Headingley that night to watch you. And I wanted to ask you about your connection with the fans and the city of Leeds. Is it sometimes a blessing and a curse at the same time because of the pressures that it brings?
I used to think it was just that, a blessing and a curse. I used to think it was the both, especially when I was coming through. I'd gone from fighting in smaller leisure centres, buses of like 500 coming down, and then next minute I'm fighting in like front of 10,000. I was still working a 9-to-5 job when I boxed Dennis Taveron and Vinnie Jones did ring walk. There were times where I were having to sneak out on my dinner time, or I take 10 minutes extra on my dinner to do an interview with Hawksby and Jacobs on talkSPORT, because like I say, I was still working, and then you're fighting in front of all them fans, but like I say, they expect you to win. They expect nothing else. I mean, I remember fighting for British title at the Leeds Arena, and people are like, I can't wait to see with that belt. It's a lovely belt. I can't wait to get a picture with that belt. But I'm thinking, I've got Michael Lindsay in front of me. The guy's dangerous. He's got a vicious left hook. I've still got to go out there and win. It's not a given. But then, over time, you start to experience it and learn from that experience and use it for good. And I think I kind of got over that barrier when I beat Lee Selby. When I walked out, 20,000 at Ellen Road, kind of like, if I've got through that, then I'm going to be able to get through anything. So that's kind of using that pressure as a good thing. And I've said it many times, they're like, in football terms, a 12th man. They're like my 12th man, People find pressure of it, and some say that you shouldn't rely on the crowd, but I don't know, man. When I'm stood on that stage or just about to walk to the ring and I meet people's eyes and they're screaming, "Come on, Josh!" and I'm seeing in them, it's like I feed off that energy. And whilst I'm in the ring, I feed off the energy when they're screaming and shouting. There used to be a time when I think I need to impress them, but they'll just be happy with the result. So just using that energy when you start getting tired, when you start getting a little bit fatigued, you feed off that energy for something good. And unbelievable how they turned out in against the rematch at Headingley. I just come off a knockout loss, and there were 18,000 there. Unbelievable. And I'm forever indebted to them people who pay their hard-earned money to come along and support me. But that's where it pushes me to train harder and make sure I do the business.
There's been some incredible moments in boxing in the last few months alone. Just what did you make, though, of that Kid Galahad knockout by Kiko back in October, I think it was? Because for many people, it came out of nowhere.
Oh, most definitely. Shocked. I mean, I remember doing an interview with a few media teams that week and people saying, what do you think what's going to happen? And I'm thinking, well, kid's going to have a walking park, really. His style's, all wrong for Kiko. Kiko's going to have a real hard night at the office. But I did say that if kids focused on unifying, because he would come to mentioning the likes of Navarrete, I think if he just takes a percentage off, then it could be dangerous for him, because Kiko Martinez has still got that punch power. And I was shocked. I'd walked in from exhibition after fighting Maxi Hughes, and I just got a kebab from Leeds City Centre and dropped out all over my living room. I was gobsmacked. What a punch. I actually didn't sleep until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because I was pumped on adrenaline after seeing that shot. But it just goes to show that this is boxing and anything can happen, and you switch off at any one stage, then it's, it could be lights out.
And for that reason, you'll be laser focused on Kiko this weekend. But before you vacated your belt, you decided and said your ambition was to fight in America, to take on some of the greats of the sport. Do those ambitions still remain for you?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I remember going over to Vegas to watch Carl Frampton fight Leo Santa Cruz in the rematch, and I was like a tourist, buying t-shirts, programs, seeing the buses driving past, phones always out, taking pictures of the blackjack tables with, the Santa Cruz and Frampton, and I'm thinking, you know what, I don't mind a bit of this. I could see all of the Irish fans over there in the green shirts, where the Ulster boys making all the noise. I'm thinking, this is not bad, I can see the Leeds doing this, singing Matching On together, smashing up casinos and causing a riot. 100%, I'd love a bit of this. And it's not just for myself, obviously, growing up watching likes of Rick Hatton or Joe Calzaghe go over there, but for those who have been with us, those who have followed us from the leisure centres, like Hillsborough Leisure Centre, Huddersfield Leisure Centre, to Leeds Arena, to Edinley, Manchester Arena, Ellen Road, to Las Vegas. Some people have been there from the very, very start, and for them to say I was there when he was fighting in leisure centres, I've seen his name up on the big billboards in Vegas on the blackjack tables. I'd love to make the memories for them, so it becomes folktale when they're talking about him boozers for years to come. Oh, I tell you what, they were good days. And I kind of had a taste of that back in 2015. I boxed over in Berlin in an 8-rounder, and it was like a Leeds away day. It was like the European day. So, like I say, I'd love to take him to New York, Vegas, anywhere in the States, just so I can make the memories.
Where does Lee Wood fit into that equation? Because it was a quite stunning, remarkable knockout of Michael Conlan in that 12th round. He's spoken about the prospect of a fight against you, potentially at the City Ground. I'm sure you'd rather it be at Ellen Road, but would you see that as a potential fight? It's
an option. It's definitely an option. I was watching that fight and I'm thinking to myself, well, if Mick gets a nod here, we'll probably go to New York. I can see he's got a bigger connection with the Irish lot in New York, so that's maybe have to dust the passport off. But then that punch came out of nowhere, and Wood's the winner. So we've done the stadiums in Leeds, we've done Ellen Road, we've done Edinley, like I say, we've done the arena 10 times, coming up to 11. I'd love to go down to Nottingham, boot the doors off that and say Leeds are here, and beat him in his own backyard, just to prove that I can, and I don't need the luxuries of home, and that my support will follow me wherever. Like I say, there's that one, there's the Lara Free, there's obviously Navarrete. Santa Cruz has stated that he's staying at featherweight, and then there's Mark Magasayo, who's beat Garrisel Jr. So the featherweight division is absolutely booming, and it's a good time to be a part of it.
On a football related note, Can we expect a strong Leeds United contingent in the crowd this Saturday?
Yeah, most definitely. Quite fortunate and pinch myself at times that the boys get behind me, not just the team but the staff as well. From the directors and the media managers, they all get behind me. So it's there'll be a strong presence of Leeds United fans, Leeds United casuals, and Leeds United players there on Saturday night.
Have you reached out to Marcelo Bielsa to see if he wants to come along?
Yeah, my Portuguese isn't brilliant, to be fair, so I've not. You know what? He'd be lovely to have him along, but we're already as fans indebted to him as what he's done for the city and for the club. So it would have been an honour to have him there, just to have him say a big thank you, and I'm sure they've had a hell of a response. But I think he was gone as soon as his bags were packed. He was gone.
Can you put into words though the impact that he's had on not only the football club but the city as well over the last few years?
Yeah, like I say, it's not just what happened on the pitch; it's away from the pitch, the way that he's united the club. I think we went through a stage of just having a run of silly owners, and then once we got Radovazani, it was a run of silly managers, and it was just a stage of here we go again, and then when he came involved with Leeds, he took to the city, and the city took to him straight away. The way that he just walked about with no fancy suits. It wasn't about him. He ain't got shiny teeth like Klopp, or he doesn't have the style like Pep. But he's a no-nonsense, and that is what Leeds United is all about, no-nonsense. We don't like someone who thinks they're bigger than the club, and that is something that Marcelo did. He just wanted to let the results speak. And, walking around Wetherby, so, his local Costa Coffee, just stopping for fans in the street and just being humble, and that's what Leeds love. That's why they've loved likes of David Batty or Vinnie Jones over the years, just no-nonsense, just hard workers. And he certainly made the city the booming again. There's murals of him around the city, and it didn't say much, but fans would speak about it like, you just can't imagine him not being here. And now we don't have him, and Jesse March has taken over, but I think his legacy will never be forgotten.
And finally, bringing it back to you, Josh, this weekend at the Leeds Arena, what's going to happen?
Josh Warrington win, and we're going to see. And he is now the two-time world champion from Leeds. It's the Leeds Warrior, Josh Warrington. Tell you what, that's going on the CV, and we'll need a ring announcer. I'm here, Josh Warrington, when I retire. There you go.
Really hope you enjoyed our exclusive interview with Josh Warrington ahead of his huge fight this weekend. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our boxing content across the talkSPORT network.